Good to go.
All righty. Good evening and welcome to the LA South Chamber of Commerce Wealth and Financial Team webinar. Our main topic is building generational wealth, and it starts with you. Learning best practices about creating a spending plan to manage your income and expenses is a good thing. And I hope you feel the same. So we are live on Facebook. My name is Vernell Taylor, and I'm a proud member with the Chamber, and I serve on the Hope Foundation Board. We are not the average chamber. For the newcomers, please check out our website at www.lachamber.com. And I am the regional manager, and I manage our Student One Branch program with Union Bank. Well, let's get started with our program. And we will save our introductions a little bit later through our presentation. Thank you again for joining this evening webinar. This is April Financial Education Month, and we're looking to deliver some great information from some great presenters. So please take notes and be ready for questions and answers. Place all your questions in the chat box so we can get to them, and raise your hand if necessary. Now, I would like to introduce Loreen McLeod. She is an independent life agent broker with Mass Mutual. And she will be presenting the importance of budgeting and importance of budgeting. So I would like for Loreen McLeod to take it over.
Well, thank you, Vernell. So hi, everyone. My name is Loreen McLeod. And as Vernell stated, I too am a proud member of the LA South Chamber of Commerce and a member of the financial education team. I work as an independent life agent, brokering for a number of insurance companies and provide disability insurance, life insurance, long-term care, and final expense insurance. Can I see the first slide, please, Tylan? Thank you. My information is on the slide. So as I stated, I broker for a number of insurance companies and provide disability insurance, life insurance, long-term care, and final expense insurance. My topic is on the importance of budgeting. So let's begin by talking about the money mindset, then and now. So money, let's take a look at what the money mindset was in the past. So in the past, men were often at the head of the household. They were the breadwinners. They brought home the paycheck that supported the family. There was also the notion that investing is just for men, a little bit sort of contrary to what we think now. But back in those days, the notion, there was a very popular notion that investing was just for men. And naturally, there were much less women in the workforce. Now, I grew up in a household like as was described here. My dad was the breadwinner. He was the only person working, and every month he gave my mom money. In addition to taking care of us kids, she was responsible for managing the household, including paying all the bills that were due throughout the month. My mom was a good money manager because somehow she managed to always put aside a little bit for savings. She often referred to that as her rainy day fund because with 6 kids, some unexpected expense always came up. For instance, needing that extra pair of shoes for one of my brothers or myself. Now, let's take a look at the mindset today. Now, today, more women are in the workforce. An increasing number of women are primary breadwinners. And women are also their household CFOs. Now, because women are not, today, women are not only wage earners, but the chief financial officers of their households. It is increasingly important that women have access to the information and tools to make sound financial decisions. Next slide. So if you're feeling unprepared, you're not alone. A recent financial literacy survey found that more than 50% of adults do not have a budget. Nearly 24% of adults do not pay all their bills on time. And nearly 1 in 4, that's a whopping 25%, do not save any portion of their household's annual income for retirement. Now, these are startling findings, and clearly they're huge concerns. The question is, how do we fix this problem? May I see the next slide? It starts by knowing your monthly income. Now, note, we're not talking about how much money you earn, that is your gross income, but how much money you actually take home, your paycheck. And this is consistent whether you are a wage owner or self-employed. Next, you access your current expense. Next, you need to assess your current expenses. Now let's take a look at the chart as described here. It lists your basic expenses, which are your needs, as well as your discretionary expenses, which are the things that you want. So it's very important that you understand that in formatting your budget, you've got to separate the expenses that are critical, which are your wants, which are your needs, as well as your discretionary expenses, which are your wants. Now, your basic expenses would cover items such as your rent or your mortgage payments, your groceries. It will cover travel and transport, including your car payments, payment for gas, tolls, parking, as well as your mass transit fees. Another basic expense would be your utilities, which would include gas, water, power, phone, cable, internet. And finally, your budget should likely include your luxury items or luxuries or discretionary items. And these would include your shopping, going out to dinner, travel expense, going to events such as a theater or movie or a game. Those again are luxury items. Discretionary, those are your wants. Now, we need to ask a question. Next slide. Does your income cover your expenses? So take a look at some of the seeds that are described here. You see the expenses that we're addressing are, again, your groceries, some place to live, your housing, and clearly it would include expenses related to raising a family. It is extremely important that you live within your means. You have to be realistic about what you can afford and what you can live without. Next slide. Cutting back. So this leads us to cutting back. Cutting back is a term that no one likes to hear. because it means giving up or having to change doing something that we like. But cutting back can be simple and painless. So let's consider that daily latte or the stop till in the morning. In the mornings, I know for a fact that I would have to drive through Starbucks. So this is something that I've experienced myself. So consider the cost of that daily latte at $5 per at a cost of $5. It calculates to $35 a week, $150 a month, and a whopping $1,825 a year. That's a lot of money for to support a habit that we have. Now, the option would be to purchase an espresso machine for a cost of $300. Now, with a savings of $1,525, there are a couple of things that you can do. First of all, you can certainly increase your savings fund or certainly reduce the pressure or stress you may be experiencing from managing a very tight budget. And I think this is something that a lot of us deal with is we understand that things are tight in handling our basic expenses, yet we're reluctant to make the necessary changes in the habits that we have formulated just because we want to support the things that we like doing. So the whole issue of putting together a budget does call for some soul searching. It does call for looking at the choices that we're making and being prepared to revise and to make adjustments. So next slide. Where do we start? Where do we start? So we start by putting together a budget. We need to ask ourselves, what are my savings goals? And remember, when it comes to savings, the cardinal rule is to pay yourself first. So let me make that really clear. You've got your take-home check. Before you pay the first bill, you need to allocate a certain percentage to your savings, whether it's 1%, 3%, 5%, but whatever it is that you select, you need to be consistent. You need to do that every month. That's the cardinal rule as it pertains to establishing a savings plan. Next, you have to ask, what are my necessary expenses? And again, we're referring to our basic expenses or needs. And also ask yourself, what is a realistic spending target? So the question, or said another way, we're basically asking ourselves, what percent of my take-home pay is allocated to paying my bills? So you notice that in establishing a budget, you have to become very granular. You're working with numbers and numbers never lie. So you have to be very granular and very, very focused on what you're doing. It's important for you to hold yourself accountable. You need to track your income and expenses monthly, and you also need to find a tool or a system that works best for you. For some of us who prefer putting pen to paper and manually tracking each and every expense, the monthly budget sheet could potentially look like this. Tylan, can I see that budget sheet? So again, very granular. Look at the items that it's covering: your monthly income, basic expenses, your needs, your discretionary expenses, and then your allocations in terms of your spending, setting up your savings plans. Now, others may prefer a digital budgeting tool, which my teammate Tylan will demonstrate in his presentation. Now, this concludes my portion of the presentation, and I want to thank you sincerely for your attention. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Tylan Miller. Tylan Miller is an amazing young man. He is a millennial, he's smart, he's ambitious, and he has been an amazing addition to the finance and wealth team. He designs software. He works with a team who designs software, and he will be providing a new perspective on budgeting. So again, thank you, and take it away, Tylan.
Thank you very much for that heartfelt introduction. I appreciate it. My name is Tylan Miller. As he said, I am a millennial, 26 years of age, very dedicated towards providing a different perspective on credit education and financial literacy. I have a for-profit, which is a business agency, community resource center, and I have a nonprofit which directly supports that for minorities across the states. My main goal is to have credit education and financial literacy as basic curriculum in schools, just like in Florida, how the recent bill passed for them. Congratulations. I am a member of the LA South Chamber of Commerce. I am on the financial literacy team, proud to be a part of it. Very great presentation, Loreen, as she was talking about budgeting, which is a very important topic that is not talked about in general. A lot of people are not used to budgeting, and they don't hear about budgeting maybe until maybe they're doing their taxes or things like that. Now, I have a lot of services. There's a lot of things I provide, and one of them, I do have a team that I work with that provides digital products or digital resources that can be used for consumers or also other industries or professionals that I may partner with. So for example, sometimes I use this budgeting tools and I sell it to tax professionals or realtors, and they use it when they are talking to their clients with a consultation, or they are referring this software as well. So this tool is called Automate My Budget, and it goes over everything that was talked about. So managing your expenses, your daily expenses, and this is all built on a simple Google spreadsheet. There are formulas that are calculated and other things like that. It works automatically on the client or whoever is using it. They have to do is insert number in certain fields based on those numbers, calculate a snapshot that provides them with all the spendable and show them where there's money is going. And those charts, I'll get into it a little bit, but those charts are what Lorraine talked about. So we have budgeting, we have your utilities, we have your leisures, we have your daily living, your bills, your subscriptions, and other miscellaneous items. So when somebody comes to this spreadsheet, that is what they see right here, that is calculated. We have monthly expenses right here. We have monthly income that is also calculated, spendables down here. There's also a tracker. So today is Thursday, April 21st. There are 9 days left. They still have 3 payments that are due this month with the information that is right here. So even if I go to pay period, we can go from a daily pay period if we need to.
A weekly.
And for some reason, I'm not sure why the weekly one is not showing. That's actually odd. Yeah, so it's actually daily, weekly, and monthly. And there are other sections inside of the spreadsheet that can be changed. Usually things are always getting updated from requests that I get from tax professionals or partners, or sometimes client tell as well. There's also a monthly savings, which I will go into the savings goal calculator in a little bit. So I actually talked about when you are determining how much money that you want to save monthly, whether it's 1% or 5% or 10%, you will be able to calculate and track that. Here we have an income section where we are looking at the pay schedule, and that can be bi-weekly or monthly just with a simple click, and they can come and easily change their net income. If they made that, let's say they made tips, you can see this information changing at the bottom in real time. Here's their monthly savings based on 5%. They can come and change this to whatever percentage that they want. There's also a credit card summary tracker that is another tab that I'll get into. If we scroll down a little bit, here's an expenses tab. So this is where we get into talking about tracking your utilities. For there are some examples. We have the electric, heat, phone, garbage, water. We can set how much this costs monthly. That is a big price. Hopefully nobody's paying that much for heat. That would be really ridiculous. But just an example, and on the side, we can change the due date here, and that will be actually calculated inside of this payment up there if that date has passed or not passed. We also have leisure that can be tracked here. Leisure can be whatever they feel is under the category of leisure. Hopefully they're picking correctly. Internet is a leisure, but I think that is something that we need under bills actually. But we have gym right here. Maybe another leisure is gaming system, for an example, and I pay monthly on that. That's $1,500 just for an example, and the due date is on the 4th. If I purchase that, we have daily living, which can be food, groceries, whatever word that fits best for them. Maybe what is another good daily living expense? Maybe gas is another daily expense that we can put in. Unfortunately, last time I checked outside, gas is about I think that's right. I should have put a gallon, but hopefully everybody gets that. We have bills, so we have rent, insurance, car payments. Rent is usually due on the 1st. Maybe insurance is due on the 14th. Maybe your car payment is due on the 10th, and you're able to track that. We have subscriptions, Netflix, Hulu. Let's say Hulu, for an example, is $15 a month. They can put that there, and let's say that's on your the 10th of every month. This is on the 10th of every month. Just in case you're somebody like me, I like to have all my due dates for everything I pay for all around the same time with auto pay. And if we have other expenses, those can also be tracked right here. There's also a section dedicated towards tracking credit card debt as well. So we can insert any bank name, your credit card limit, if there's an annual fee. Hopefully there is no annual fee. What your balance is, your interest rate, interest with only payments, the monthly payment. They'll calculate all those things, how much time it is left to pay off that debt as well. That is also calculated. There's a daily tracker, which you can come and edit and change that information with things that you are spending daily. Here is your savings goal calculator that you can come and track right here, put away extra income. You can have dates. You can make notes here on the amount adjusted and things like that, and be able to, or also you can use this with a to-do list to also follow up on these things if you don't come here and track whatever goals that you're tracking all the times. And there is a savings percentage calculator, which is used to calculate what is going on in your savings. And one last tab that's hiding behind here is a large purchase calculator. So if you have a large purchase that you are looking to make, you can set up a roadmap on how you can pay that down, how that process works and everything's like that. Once again, this is built on a simple Google spreadsheet. So it's real easy to hand off to other clients or whatever the case may be. I'm using actually a client, one I have for a client named Amanda who uses this in her credit repair company. When she has credit consultations, she sets up a budgeting plan for her clients. I don't want to ramble on too long, but that is one example of how you can use a digital budgeting tool to help hold yourself accountable, or maybe if you are a professional in the industry where you can use that if you're giving consultations and helping your clients budget their money, or maybe you want to sell it to a client and you have a budgeting program and you use a software like this as an example. And next we have Calvin from Credit Card Savers. Calvin, I've actually worked with Calvin on some wonderful things that he is doing. He has a very good technology as well, or works well with someone who has very good technology that actually helps consumers clear up credit card debt faster than they normally would. And we met because I do credit repair services, and that is something that is not often talked about, how people can reduce their debt in efficient ways. So I would like to hand it over now to Calvin.
Okay, before we introduce Calvin, Vernell, I'd like to introduce Vernell once again. Thank you. Awesome presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Lorraine, for covering the budget aspect, why we should budget our money. And Tylan has given the illustration part and utilizing those tools, great tools that you presented that we can consider using on a digital level. So since we talked about that, we want to throw out some questions for the audience. And if you have questions, as well to add to it, you can also put it into the chat box. But one of the questions that I like to give to the audience is, why is a budget important? You can either raise your hand or put it into the chat, and then we can have conversation to share why you think a budget is important. All righty. Let's see. See anything in the chat box yet? Any hands raised? Come on, don't be shy. Let's keep this going. Tylan said, how often are you really budgeting? Okay. Anybody have the answer to why is budget important? Okay. Well, maybe,
I have a quick answer.
Okay.
Budgeting is important because it helps you to stay on track with your finances. It keeps you from going out and spending money spontaneously. If you follow your budget, that means you'll always have money at the end of that month. And you'll be on top of your finances. That's one way of getting on top of your finances, is having a budget. If you don't have one, then that means you're either out buying here, spending there, and you have no idea of tracking what you're spending or what you're buying or where your money's actually going. It's important that you know where your money's going on a monthly basis.
That's correct, Opal. You want to have control of your money. When you're getting paid, you don't want to wait to, you're struggling. It's get to 25th of the month, 30th of the month, and you don't have any money. Now you're saying, I'm broke, and that's not a good word to use, but, being more wise and smart and how you manage your money is very important. You don't want to exceed what money is your money that's coming in throughout the month. You want to live within your means, which is very important, and take care of your expenses. And creating that financial stability is very important. And tracking your expenses, as both Loreen and Tylan mentioned in their presentation. So that's very important, and teaching others the importance about managing money. So it's planning your money, pretty much planning your when your money come in and when your money go out. Let's see any other questions in the chat box.
Calvin has one in the chat box. We
Okay.
didn't go answer his question. How often are you really budgeting? And anyone has any suggestions for that or any answers to that?
Yes, certainly you should be budgeting monthly. You should always have a monthly budget. And as Tylan showed, a monthly budget is built by budgeting daily. So it's clearly a system. And the system is basically starting with your income, tabulating your expenses, knowing which ones are necessary expenses or needed expenses, and others which are wants or things that you desire or like, but they may not be as critical. So, Vernell, you have any additional input with respect to that question? How often are you really budgeting?
You pretty much covered it, like you said, monthly, but also we want to be conscious every day when if we want to spend our money, you want to be conscious every day. Because when you walk out that door, and not even walking out the door, because now everything is digital. I catch myself on the shopping channel. I don't really shop, but I sure pulled out my credit card and I bought some items to go in the kitchen. And I was like, what? I like the item, they really be selling it. So
Yeah.
we got to track your expenses because it looked good on there on the TV. And some of that stuff is really nice. I brought some nice shoes once upon a time and it says real leather. I smelled it. I said, okay, I don't have to turn it back. But you got to be careful when you every day. So every day is be conscious, watching your money every day, making sure you don't exceed. And as I mentioned in a previous presentation, I don't want to take too much time. I want to take over the presentation, but that 50-30-20 rule, I kind of like that. I think a lot of our participants really enjoy that, understand that method. 50% will go on your needs and 30 on the wants and 20% of your savings, or you can switch it, 20 on your wants and 30 on the savings. So that's a template you can utilize. I see Tylan hands raised. Go ahead.
I wanted to real quickly just give a little advanced insight on another way why it's important to just not budget, not just, for example, you can say the same thing about your credit card due date. And I just wanted to share my screen and show an example of how I actually track and manage. So this is my to-do list, and just for a small example, I have in the category of finances, check my budget on an automatic timer. And then I also have other sections where my due dates are for all my credit cards that automatically remind me. So if you have something like a to-do list, you can also follow up on that budgeting system that you put in place.
Great. Thank you so much, Tylan. Great.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. And if we have pull that back up. Okay.
Thank you. You want to throw out another question, Opa? Or
no, yes, we do have two other questions.
Okay.
Just give me a minute here.
Let's see, I had the first question and it was one more question for me. You want me to throw it out real quick? All righty. Thank you, Opa. So the next question for the audience and also our Facebook Live folks out there, you don't want to forget about them. I'm not sure of any hands raised out there, but another question that was brought up that we should ask: name 3 basic expenses that you should include in your monthly budget. And now Lorraine covered that. Any hands or something that you really feel that you need to include in your monthly budget? Now everybody raise a hand at once, but I'd like to see some hands. We have any hands up? Don't be shy. Come on, this is the opportunity. Terry, Larry, Stacy Eubanks. Who else is out there? We have
Carl.
Carl. We have Darlene. Pamela. I'm not sure. Miss
Yes,
Thompson.
you guys don't be shy. Raise your hands.
Raise your hand. We got plenty of time. We're here to what time? 7:30. We got some time here. Come on, let's make this interactive.
How about housing?
Pardon
Say
me?
what?
I could,
I'm laying in the bed calling on myself. How about housing?
Housing,
Yes.
that's one good one. Thank you, Terry. Another, your expenses, your monthly, these are expenses that you have to pay every month. That's like your food expenses. Okay, gas, electricity, those are things are basic expenses that should be included every month. That means they're not going anywhere.
Right. Those
Okay,
are not that. And then also we have grandchildren, children, childcare and school costs. That should be also included because that get really expensive. So we work hard. We want to make sure those are paid for because the school is very important for the kids. If it's not, school is daycare. So that's
exactly.
something we want to include as well.
Okay, we have another hand up. H. Carl.
Yes,
Crawford.
transportation expenses, whether it be fuel or repairs on your automobile, or if you
Mhm.
transit, gosh, insurances, medical insurance.
Yes.
Yes, every day.
Yeah, everything that's essential must be in there. You have to track it on an item by item basis.
Exactly.
Many of these things are repeatable from month to month, but some of them only come up every 3 months. Some only come up every 6 months. And so
Right.
why you should refresh your budget every month so that it reflects what's going to happen in the coming month. Right now, we're getting late into April, so we should be doing our our May budgets right now.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much, Carl. Anyone else?
I'm checking the chat box. I don't see any other questions.
Okay. Well, let's get into the rest of the questions here so we can move on to our next presenter. Tylan had a question in the chat box. Let's see here where we at, Tylan. And then I'm gonna go on to Lorraine's two other questions that she has.
Okay.
It says, are you thinking about budgeting when you're in a negative situation? Any answers there? Do we think about budgeting when we're in a negative situation?
can
Does
he
anyone
expand? Can he expand a little bit more?
I meant
Tell us
to-
what he means by that.
I meant to ask, and I was thinking of it like in a when I are talking to clients about budgeting, I'm asking them, are you only thinking about budgeting when
When
you're
you're in a negative situation.
So that could be whether you get in a house or you get in a car. That's the only time you're thinking about
Oh,
budgeting is when the
Right.
opportunity is presented and you have no choice but to think about budgeting.
Great,
Oh, okay,
thank you. You
okay.
gotta figure that dollar in, that extra
Yeah.
bill you just signed on.
You
How am I
forced.
gonna figure it in my budget? Exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Tyler.
Mhm. And-
Oh, okay, on to any other questions? Any other answers or responses? Okay, let's get into Lorraine's third question. What are some discretionary expenses you can cut back on that will make a big impact on your budget? And I know a lot of us know those. Ladies, stop buying those shoes. Okay. Do you really have to go to the hair salon this month? Do you really need that lipstick? Or did we eat out more than one time during the week? Okay, so those are some things I suggest that we definitely can cut back on to help impact our budget and keep it in line. Anybody else? Carl?
We have a hand, Carl.
Yeah, I would recommend, a lot of people don't budget, in my opinion, because
Exactly.
they feel like it's kind of a restriction or a negative thing. It's not negative, it's an accountability thing, though.
Exactly.
Discretionary, and they think that you have to give up your discretionary purchases, but you don't. You can build in discretionary purchases into that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And just control how much you're going to spend on those discretionary items and put it on whatever you want to.
Exactly.
Don't exceed whatever that number is that's appropriate for you.
Very good. Thank you so much, Carl. And I see Calvin, your hand is up.
Pardon me. Yes, I was curious. Tylan, is your program an app or is it a spreadsheet that you're selling that you download? Is it a part of your package? Because I think it could really help a lot of people. I see in my family household, my wife and I, we could benefit from that. So can you elaborate briefly on that?
Yeah. So it's how it works is basically there's like a link where you pay for the product and there's an automation that goes on. It's literally built on a Google spreadsheet with formulas. So I duplicate your own copy of that spreadsheet that only you have or whoever purchases that spreadsheet that is there for you. I am working on an app or things that you can say that are a little bit, I guess, easier to navigate. Some people are only used to using a Google spreadsheet on their desktop or laptop and not used to using it on their phone and things like that. They don't think about convenient ways, and sometimes it is a little bit quote unquote tech savvy. So that I am already currently building out more user-friendly ways, but right now that is a way that it hasn't had a lot of negative feedback, but I do know in the future we'll be progressing, updating.
Excellent.
Okay, great. Thank you, Calvin. That was a good
Mhm.
question. Moving on to the very last question that Lorraine has. Why is saving an important component of any budget? Anyone like to elaborate on that?
I think personally, from me, when I got into really, when you do the numbers and you think about like your budgeting plan, it helps you reach goals and investments faster. If you're that type of person that's looking to actually have a goal or investment, you'll be surprised on how much money you save. So for an example, if you're spending money on cannabis and that's $30 a day, let's just say, and you multiply that and you add that up, that's a lot of money. You can think about cutting that in half or finding another way to have recreational activities and things like that.
Yes, and I want to add, thank you, Tyler, for mentioning that as well. Also, it just changed our habit. You know, if you're actually starting to begin saving, maybe you can't save a lot, but if you start little by little and you see that money grow, you're like, okay, I can do this. So you're changing the mindset and you're also changing your habit and your way of thinking, because now you begin to save. So it becomes a habit. So it's a whole new change. So
Exactly.
creating that habit and building and sharing with others that you can save as well. And you can start off at the minimum, but now this is a life changing. Now you create a habit. So when you make more money, you're going to put more away. So I try to put at least 500 away. I try and put it into my emergency fund. And, you know, it helps. It's growing. It's like, I like this. So, you know, create that habit and it's nothing to you. And then you start think about retirement like me.
Okay. I think we had one more hand up with Carl, and then we're gonna move on, okay? I guess not. What I would like to do at this point, thank you, Vanell, thank you, Tylan and Lorraine. You did an awesome job. Great topic. Something that we need every day. We need to practice it every day. And it definitely should be a part of our life, our daily, especially if we're going out there working hard, making money, we need to learn how to control it and take care of it, make sure it's going in the right directions. And never forget to pay yourself first. Yep. Okay. We didn't talk about that in the budget, but we want to always pay ourselves first, because remember, you're the one that's going to work. You're the one that's bringing the income in, and you do matter. And you have to pay before you handle your budget and all of that. You have to make sure you set aside what's important for you. So paying yourself first is very important. At this point, I'd like to introduce some of our guests that are on here tonight. What I would like for you to do is just simply give us your name and the title of your business. And we're going to keep moving on to the next speaker, okay? And I will start with Carl. You want to introduce yourself and the name of your business real quick?
My name is Carl Crawford, and I'm an agent and financial advisor with New York Life.
Okay.
Lorraine was a former colleague of mine, and we spent a lot of time strategizing together and talking about budgeting as being a key piece of any client presentation. So I'm really thrilled to see her here. And
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here this evening as well. Darlene Ross, the name of your business and your introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Darlene Ross. I am a Jafra cosmetic independent consultant. I'm also a proud member of LA South Chamber, and I serve on the Hope Board. And also I'm the ambassador for Compton Carson area. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Darlene, for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. Stacy Eubanks.
Hello, I'm Stacy Eubanks and I'm friends with Burnell. I don't have a business and I'm here just to gain information. And sorry for being so late.
No problem. We just welcome you tonight, okay? As always. Thank you. Our next one is Terry Larry. Terry, are you there? Okay, we're gonna move right along. I have Pamela Thompson. Pamela? Okay, anyone else that I have missed? Okay, thank you so much for attending tonight. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next speaker. We have Calvin Johnson. And we're still talking about budgeting. We're still talking about credit and how we can really get that through tonight, okay? Calvin will be speaking.
Oh, excuse me, go ahead.
Okay, good to see your picture there. Calvin will be speaking to us tonight about credit scores. You know, as well as you want to build that score, we definitely want to see you maintain that score and maintain your credit. So without further ado, Calvin, you have the floor. Calvin Johnson, thank you for being here.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being here and listening and participating. So anyway, Credit Card Savers is a company that is doing something a little different. I'd like to call it, it's time for you to let your debt build your credit. Imagine that, your debt building your credit. Anybody ever heard of a concept like that? Okay. So anyway, we're going to discuss briefly, go over some things that are going to help you regardless, but we'll also interject some points about Credit Card Savers and why you need to take a look at our program. Okay, just some pointers out, just some little statistics. The average credit card debt in America today with small business owners is in the range of about $195,000. Now, that of course can vary depending on whether you're a retailer or the type of business you operate, but a lot of business owners are carrying excess credit card debt. So they really need to learn about what we do. And we're very excited. We think we have a tremendous opportunity with this business. The annual average spend on a credit card is about $28,000. Let me point that out as well. And so credit scores will vary. Your credit score is a 3-digit number that determines your financial life. It will help you in areas like renting an apartment, leasing an apartment, purchasing a vehicle, and putting money into your business through a loan or that type of thing. It can also help you if you're trying to gain employment. So your credit score is very important. I think many of us are aware of what our credit score may be. Many of us are not. But the point is, as business owners, we need to pay close attention to this because you want to know exactly where you fall into this category. Anyway, the scores range between 300 and 850. 300 being a very poor, 850 being the max or excellent score to have. And this will vary based on the model. There are 2 models out there. The first one is called your FICO score or your Vantage score. And this is used by Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. They're the big 3 credit bureaus. They're the ones who have that. Okay. Oh, my slides, pardon me. Excuse me. I forgot to pull up my slides. Okay, everybody can see that? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So, all right. So what determines your credit score? Your credit score is determined by your payment history. It makes up approximately 35% of your score. They base it on how you pay your bills. What you owe, that's a lesser amount, 30%. The history and the length is about 15%, meaning how long or the length of time that you've had your credit. If you're new with your credit, that's only a 10% variance. Credit mix is about 10%. Installment loans, personal loans, car, mortgage, revolving credit accounts, credit cards. That's our business, helping you save on credit cards. So the credit mix is important, but your payment history is number one. New credit is only 10%. Credit lines, retail lines, things of that nature. Okay. All right. So, and your Vantage score is a credit score that was developed, as I mentioned, by the 3 top credit bureaus. They work together when it comes to this. And the credit bureaus, they predict how likely you are to repay borrowed money based upon the creation of that credit Vantage score. Okay, so this is affected not by your income. Your Vantage score has nothing to do with your income. Recurring payment history is very, very important. So we can't emphasize enough how important it is to pay your bills on time. Now, the credit utilized, meaning the type and the duration and the percentage that you use, that is also very important. So that's something you really want to focus on as well. The combined total balances plus the amount of debt has some influence. Let's talk about that for a minute. Combined total balances, of course, credit cards, revolving credit, that is what that is based on, okay? And your available credit, recent behavior, new inquiries, these are things that have less influence. But credit utilization is very important, meaning how you're using your credit. What are you doing with it? What are you purchasing? So that is very important. They're looking at that as well. Now, a little formula, if you want to calculate this, is to add the balances on your credit cards divided by the total of your credit limit across all your cards. And that will give you a way to calculate that amount. Okay, my next slide, and additional steps to improve your score. Everybody wants to raise their credit score, I would assume, right? Yes, of course. Well, if you can't do that on your own, one of the things that you could consider is becoming an authorized user on someone else's credit card. Has anyone ever heard of that? Anybody ever done that in the audience? Perhaps? Okay. Well, it's a good way to get started and it will help build your credit score. So keep that in mind. If you are trying to acquire some credit and you don't have any, and your credit is not bad, or if it is damaged, you can talk to someone who has a good credit score and you can see if they will allow you to piggyback on their credit, so to speak. What to know? If someone adds to their account, you're riding on their good credit. So it's very important that you be conscientious of their credit because you could hurt their credit, but riding on their credit as a additional user will help you. Okay. Now, primary account owner versus the authorized user. These are the roles that are played. The authorized user can make changes. You as a person who's riding on their credit, so to speak, you would have to obviously get their permission to do that, but you want to keep good communication lines open with them and make sure you don't do anything that could damage or affect their credit in a harmful way. The primary credit card holder is liable for paying the bill. They also request credit increases and manage the account. So that is how that plays out. And one of the most important things that I want you to understand also is that many of us, as you were saying in the last presentation, are living above our means. So it's important, especially in our community, that we learn to live within our means and utilize our money more effectively and our credit. Establish a repay plan with the cardholder to pay off your balances on time and in full each month. So pay off your balances, if you can, in full each month. That's very important. Now, credit for paying your bills on time. There's a program Experian is offering called Credit Experian Boost, which will help you increase your credit score. So if you have not considered that, I encourage you to take a look at it, at least go to the website and take a look, because it is a tool and it has been proven effective in helping people raise their credit scores. Now, last but not least, this is where Tylan comes in, credit repair. Fix bad credit. It's not hard once you know how, right, Tylan? Okay, and he can help you with that. And there are other credit card repair, credit repair services out there. Credit Card Savers, we are not a credit repair service, but we work very well with credit repair professionals, because helping to reduce those credit card balances is going to also affect your overall credit score, your credit existence, all of that, okay? A high score will improve your chance for securing credit also. So it's very important to build your credit. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer, but it can be done. You'll save money from lower interest rates. You'll avoid penalties, late fees, things of that nature, okay? Last but not least, my slide is, my final slide is, so who is Credit Card Savers? We're a company that you would call, or we call ourselves, a cash flow enhancement servicer. And we help small business owners and consumers, but this is really about helping small businesses from my perspective, at least my involvement with the company. I reach out to small businesses. That's why I'm here at the LA South Chamber of Commerce. But we're going to help you pay off your credit cards much faster and easier. And if you also have other revolving credit lines and things like that, we can also incorporate those. There's a company called Melio and Plastique, two companies out there. They're similar to what we do, but we take it a step further. Our company was designed and set up by an individual who has vast experience in the world of business. And we're very excited to join the chamber, because we know that even though you may not have a large credit card balance with your business, we can still help you with information, and we can help guide you in the right direction perhaps. But our program is really designed for people or business owners who have, let's say, 3 credit cards, and your balance may be in the range of $10,000 or more. That's kind of our sweet spot to start. Now, if you have more credit card debt and revolving loans and things, we can discuss that as well. But that's generally our sweet spot and where we start and how we can effectively help you. I encourage you to visit our website, because many times people want to know things about our program. And if you have questions, you can contact us or contact me directly. But we are not a credit repair or credit counseling agency, debt relief, debt settlement, loan consolidation, debt management company, or bill pay company. And we differ in a sense that we can show you a way to take the balances you have and pay them off much faster. So I encourage you to visit our website, contact me by email or phone if you have any questions. But you're going to be hearing a lot about this company. We're kind of getting started, but you're going to hear a lot about us, and we're going to be growing a lot. We just signed a nice new client on. It's not a local client. They're based in Houston, Texas. A builder who heard about our program is very interested in what we can do. So we'll keep you posted on that as things move forward. But we're a work in progress in terms of me in the chamber and beginning to put our message out effectively. So I want to thank you for listening, and please visit our website. Take a look at what we're doing. It'll raise some questions, and we're here to answer those questions. We do have 1 or 2 people that are part of the chamber who are using the program. I have not received the permission to mention a name in this particular meeting, but I will be doing that in the future. And they're very pleased with our program. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And we look forward to doing more presentations. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to share that.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much, Calvin. He did give you his information there. Is there any questions in the chat box for Calvin?
Well, let me check the chat box. I don't see anything as of yet, but I have some questions. Very good information, Calvin.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very important. It's very vital for us to understand, about our credit, and that's with us forever. You mentioned there's a couple, but explain a little bit more about keeping your credit cards and building your credit, because I know it hurts you more closing your credit cards, especially if you had your credit cards for a long period of time, because the longer you have credit, it's a benefit to you. So kind of explain a little bit more, Calvin, for me, please.
Well, ask me your question again, so I make sure I understand.
So the question is, explain a little bit more on keeping your credit cards, and you know, to build your credit.
Okay. Today, with COVID and all these things that we've been through over the past 2 years, a lot of small businesses obviously are suffering. And you have a lot of small business owners who are relying on their credit cards just to survive. So they need some help. And we believe we have a solution that can help them to do that and organize, similar to what like Tylan's program is a spreadsheet. And he offers some of the things that allow someone to keep their budget intact and maintain. Well, we do some similar things with your credit and your credit card payments and things like that. So it allows us to you don't pay us, but we work with you to get your cards paid off much faster. And it's working really well for our existing clients. So I'm not sure if I directly answered your question, but it is important to make your payments. That's the biggest thing that you can do to help yourself.
Thank you very much.
Make them on time, I should say. Pardon me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. And we have a hand. Tylan raised his hand up in the audience. Thank you.
Tylan? We can't hear you. Unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. I wanted to elaborate more. So it's important to not close your accounts. One, you shouldn't close them in general. The longer you have your accounts open, for various reasons, it's important. It shows that you are active, you are responsible, you can maintain a good relationship, a healthy account with the banks. One thing that I'm a person about perspective, and I think that really matters. When it comes to a credit report, because of the lack of information, people use their own experiences or how they view money or things like that, which is not how they should look at it. Bottom line is, when you're applying and your credit report is being looked at, you want what the lender looks at. The lender wants to see a long file, usually 2 years or more. If you have 5 years, you're doing great. Going back to what Calvin talked about with piggybacking, quote unquote, piggybacking, or having an AU is an excellent way to build history, because once you are an AU, even after that card is closed or they take you off as an AU and you're not reported, it will still be a closed account with excellent payment history, and that payment that will have an effect on you, not a high effect, but it has good effect on you for getting another card and things like that. Kind of getting down really personal, I would recommend the average person, maybe 3 or 5 credit, 3 to 4, maybe 5 credit products, unless you're like a credit mogul or a small business owner, then no, unless you're really you have good habits on paying all those bills, and you can maintain that.
Great, thank you so much. Someone else had their hands up. I think it was Lorraine. Unmute yourself, Lorraine.
Yes, so Calvin, really good information. But can you perhaps expand a little bit more on that important relationship between a primary card holder and an authorized user, and really the value of that? Because I know for a fact that one of the things that I did with my own daughter when she was about 18 years old is to add her to an established account that I had as a as an authorized user, and it was invaluable, because not only did I allow her to get a certain portion of that line assigned to her, my credit line assigned to her, but she was able to establish credit by making those payments, as well as when I was making the payments. And shortly after that, she started to get additional offers. So I think it's really important, especially in our community, to for parents to understand that unique relationship and a way in which they can assist their young, the young people to establish credit by sort of piggybacking on someone, who already has, like the
Yes.
parent who has good credit. So can you kind of expand a little bit more on that?
Well, you've opened up an area that is correct. Parents, family members, you can help your other family members who are younger, perhaps, or not as financially literate as you are, by maybe talking to them about some of these areas of understanding finance and learning finance early. Because if someone has good credit, this is one of the best ways to establish and build credit. So you're correct. And we need to do more of that, because it's a small thing, but it is very important. And it's also important, as we said, for the person who is the authorized user to be conscientious and protect that person's credit, because they're helping you. So, and Tylan can elaborate much more in depth about that than I can. He's a credit repair expert. So, but I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I don't mind elaborating either. So when it comes to authorized user, and hopefully this information doesn't sound hypocritical. So authorized users are a great way to build history. Now, what we do want to keep in mind is when you are applying, or when this person is applying that as authorized users, the lenders, their underwriting team, can see that they are authorized user and it's not a primary trade line, even though it may help significantly. Let's say, for example, depending on that AU, right, the history, the longevity of that trade line, there are cases where people get denied who have a 740 score with an AU. Why? Because they do not have any primary information at all. So sometimes it's a hit or miss. Sometimes it depends, but it really is, well, getting a little more deeper into it, because it does not weigh heavily in the algorithm for FICO score and Vantage score. Now you have FICO 10 coming out, which even stresses harder on AU. So now we get into what I talk about, non-traditional ways of reporting to help children build credit, whether that is through rent payments, subscription reporting, telecommunications reporting. You have companies like Kickoff, Grow Credit, Grain, things where you can use your debit card to build credit, things where you can purchase small PDF files for literally $2 and they'll give you a $750 trade line that you can report on. So authorized users are a very great way, but it's not the only way. And it's not, I don't want people to think that that's the first way that they always should do. It's very situational when it comes to credit. I'll be even more honest. Most people, especially in the minority community, do not have people that they can use for AUs that have good credit lines as well. You can also add an authorized user, and if they have bad history, that can also affect you as well, which is not good at all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tylan. Yeah, he is the expert there. Okay. We have some more questions for you. Lorraine, did you have your hand out? You're muted. Vernell.
Yeah, no, I took it. My question was already addressed by Calvin.
Okay,
so
very good. Thank you. Vernell, you're next.
Yes, so this question either go to Tylan or Calvin. We're talking about ways to increase your credit score. Would you agree also the secure credit card as well? As for especially, I recommend for students when they're just starting off, either getting a secure credit card or maybe starting with a smaller department store or something in that sort.
Right. So I would say definitely gets deep. So on a basic level, definitely yes, a secure card. Once you get established reputable secure cards such as Navy Fed, Discover, I wouldn't say Chase or some of the big banks because there's not as lenient. But usually what happens is even on low initial deposits, such as those cards start off at $200 minimum. I have had clients and seen many reports of somebody starting off with a secure card, $200 limit. In 3 to 6 months, they get upgraded to $10,000, $15,000, $7,000. Wow. It all depends, but that definitely is a good way. Now, I would also say to counter that, because I'm just a little picky, goes back to having non-traditional ways of reporting. If you can have these kids report primary trade lines already before they're doing the security, even though that is a primary, maybe they don't have to put money down. And maybe they can just apply for a secure card because they already have history. So once again, it gets a little situational. Or if you're a credit mogul or want to be a credit mogul for your kids, you can do both of those options. They're building credit now, doing non-traditional ways of reporting, and they've also put down a secure card. And if they have timely payments, every 3 to 6 months, most likely they will get a credit limit increase. And that's kind of standard for almost any credit card. If you have a credit card, you should be asking for a credit limit increase 3 to 6 months. That is how you grow your credit. You cannot keep the same credit limit and expect to pay on it and your score goes up. That's not how the system and the algorithms work.
Right.
Even if you have a $50,000 credit card and you only spend $2,000, that is amazing. That is good. That is what you want.
In addition to
Awesome.
which,
Thank
some
you.
banks actually monitor your credit and they will give you a credit limit that's not even solicited.
Yeah.
You know,
That
because I've
happened
seen that
with
happen
me.
to my daughter. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that happen with my
Yeah.
daughter.
You have to pay on time continuously and
Yes.
pay within the 30 days. That's also smart. When you use your credit card, pay it off in the
bit
30
more.
days. They like that and not go under 30%. And yes, because a couple of times that happened to me, I was like, I didn't even ask for this credit limit. And it kept increasing it. And I was like, well, let me watch this, you know, I'm gonna have to call
Right.
them. Wow.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a
because
good
they
thing.
will raise it on you slowly. and
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You're responsible.
Exactly.
Also,
that was-
one little note, in the FICO scoring system, I believe you have to have, if you always want to for sure maintain 50,000 available in credit is what you need. There is a scoring. It goes from like 50,000 available to 100,000 to 200,000. And
Wow.
those are when you start getting those always maintaining in the 800s if you want to be in the 800 clubs and like that. But if you can get to at least 2 cards where you have $25,000 balances, you'll be pretty good.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is awesome
Yeah.
information.
We have a hand that's been
Hand
raised for
up.
a while. We want to make sure we get to that hand. And that Pamela, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name correct.
Pamela.
Hi.
Pamela.
Camila Thompson, hi.
Pamela
Hi.
Thompson, yes.
Good evening. I want to say, sorry I am not showing face. My son had a baseball tournament, but I have my earphones in and I have been paying attention and also writing down notes. So I have a question for both Tylan and Miss Opa, whom I both talked to separately, and they are a wealth of knowledge. Let me say that. But if I wanted to have some type of simple guide, like a step-by-step guide that I can utilize like as a resource for parents and also for the teens, because I'm always being faced with some of the questions that you guys are answering. But I think that when the knowledge becomes overwhelming, they kind of lose confidence in what they can do, you know, or what they can learn at their age. So is there some type of direct, you know, maybe step-by-step simple guide that we can hand out as a resource?
I think maybe I have the answer to that question. If Opa doesn't mind, I can visually answer that question.
Well, I was going to say that that's one of my questions too.
Oh,
I was going to say we're going to have to talk to Tylan because this is something young people really need to plug into. You know, because growing up, you know, I can remember when I had my first credit cards, and then I do see other young people that do get these credit cards, they know nothing about their credit. And before you know it, they've just blown it in a short period of time. So Tylan, please give her some information, and then we're going to work on a youth webinar, okay?
Oh yeah, that definitely.
like that.
We're already
That they can
no
plug
problem.
into, exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Help her out.
Oh,
Okay.
got you.
Perfect. Tylan, were you gonna say something else?
I wanted to answer that question as well, just for anybody else who had answers. I just wanted to share my screen real quick and answer that question. So I have a variety of software and academies that are built that teach about credit education and financial literacy. And they range from a variety of things, from how to read a credit report, There is a DIY Budgeting Plan Academy. There's one for repos, hard inquiries, collections, student loans, young and kicked out financial planning. There's credit repair. There's business credit repair. There's dispute
Okay,
letter
wait.
generators.
Okay, wait. And I would have my hand up in real life right now. Okay, so parents can be guided to this website.
They can
and
be
they can
guided.
just go through like each session, with their children.
Yes, or later on when we talk, we'll develop a partnership, and there's a way where you guys can partner and have your logo with this and offer this as a resource as well. There's a variety of different ways, but I just wanted to show that I have a variety of different products.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Thank you guys.
All right. Yep. Tylan is a man tonight, I tell you, with these young people, because we really need, they need that beginning, because so many of them go the opposite direction because they don't have this knowledge. And I really like that. So we got to do better in that area. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions tonight? Any other for all of our speakers we've had this evening?
I have another question. Thank you.
Okay.
Great information is shared. Calvin kind of touched a little bit on the Experian Boost. I'm not sure if anyone in the audience had utilized that method. I actually have the app. Calvin, can you kind of give a little bit more information? If not, then that means Tylan will come in on that, but kind of explain more about that Experian Boost. And I know it has a lot to do with your automatic payments that you have and your on time. And I know Tylan mentions for utility payments, but can you elaborate a little bit more, please?
Go ahead, Tylan. It's a good program. It's a great program. And it's underutilized. More people need to be aware of it and take advantage of it. But go ahead.
I'll give some conflicting information here, but I'll be 100% honest. So Experian Boost is a wonderful and great program. Unfortunately, because we have to remember, Experian Boost is a part of the big three, right? They are not in favor of the consumers. They are in favor of the banks.
Right.
So even though they have products that may be for consumers, does not mean it's in your best interest. And I say that because unfortunately, even though it is a great product, the way it is calculated in the FICO scoring system is that whatever you have included in that system when you connect your bank, it actually adds to your debt to income ratio, which is bad, which can hurt you. I've actually seen instances of people applying for homes and Experian Boost messing up their score. For example, let's say you don't pay your bills for 3 months and that's not reported, that can make your score drop. So they have not perfected the way of what they want to do, and unfortunately they won't. And unfortunately, there are other way better companies that do that. So one that I would like to navigate and share in real time, you please definitely take a pin out. This is one of the partners that I use. This company is called Incredible. They are amazing. And they do what Experian Boost is supposed to do, but on a higher level. So they report your phone bill, gas bill, light bill, water bill, electric bill, all of those payments specifically to TransUnion. And that is because, right, Experian has their own product, so they're not going to work with a lot of other companies because they want people to come to their product. But nonetheless, this is a very great product. A lot of great programs. I know the CEO of this personally, and usually TransUnion is pulled more than other products. But why I really like Incredible, for a lot of people in this group, I would say you're not on the same path as consumers. So if you're trying to build business, which most likely you're going to get into business credit, what they do is actually those same utilities, everything that I reported, phone bill, gas bill, water bill, even your legal shield bill. Think about that. Maybe you have somebody that you, a copywriter for contracts, and you pay them. They will report those payments to the business credit bureaus, multiple business credit bureaus, to help you build your business credit. So there are a lot of small undermined companies like this who have the data right, who have been doing the reporting for a long time. Incredible, I believe they report to over 2,000 companies that they have all together. I wish I could find a page, but definitely come and check them out, or feel free to message me about more information. It's one of the products that I recommend all the time.
And really quick, Tylan, I see when you were going through really fast, there's a $9.95 monthly fee there.
Oh yes, they're very cheap.
Right,
They're very affordable. Very affordable.
Okay, and is there a membership to go with that? Sometimes we sign up for things and we get caught up with a membership, like you're obligated that you have to pay. There's a $9.95, but there's an addition fee. Make sure we disclose those other information, the other information that maybe we not see in small printing.
Yeah, there is a service fee. So I believe, and I could have some of the numbers wrong on the personal side because I usually recommend the business more. There's a 24, they have a program where it's $24 a month, and then they have one where it's $9 a month. One of the programs, they help or give a lot of resources when it comes to home ownership programs and some other things, but they're revamping that. But like I said, if you have any information, feel free to send me a message and we can go over things more in detail. And on the business side, how it works is you pay a one-time fee of $50 and monthly $9, whatever you can report in their automatic verification, such as Spectrum, things that are known, Verizon, T-Mobile, that will automatically be under the $9.99. So you can add a limited amount of counts. Now, if there isn't an account in their system, you can pay $20 for a manual verification and they will report that. So for example, things like Legal Shield, or maybe you use Regis for a virtual business office, you can have those reported instead to the business credit bureaus to help you build business credit.
Wow, awesome, awesome. Okay, very good, very good. Well, make sure your information, everyone that's on here tonight, make sure your information is in the chat box, because I'm sure you're gonna have more questions, and this has really been awesome, great information, you guys. I had my hand up because I wanted to know, Tylan, either Calvin, can you, one of the questions I have, you know, a lot of times I'll see on my credit report where they did a hard inquiry versus a soft. Can you break that down for us? Because that's very confusing to me and a lot of people.
Yeah,
Okay.
so a hard, the difference between a soft inquiry and a hard inquiry. A soft inquiry is basically, it's a soft, think of it like a pre-screening for your credit report. So usually this is used with realtors, right? They'll say we need a pre-approval or a pre-screening. This won't affect your credit score. So example could be a realtor, but what they're using is a credit monitoring service. For example, I partner with a credit monitoring service called Smart Credit. Any other credit monitoring services such as Credit Karma, Identity IQ, MyScore IQ, FICO, those also do soft pulls. So anytime you're checking your credit or a company is kind of pre-screening your credit, that's the best kind of text that I can use. They're just evaluating, they're doing a snapshot of your report. There we go, that's a better word. They're doing a snapshot to see even if you're qualified or what they can kind of give you an estimate, a guesstimate on what you can get approved for, depending on what you're applying for. A hard pull is them actually pulling your report,
it out, right,
using that information to judge you on whether they're going to approve you for whatever it may be. And that can actually sometimes affect your score positively or negatively. To give a little bit more insight, so some people may ask, okay, what if I'm checking for cars or home, right? Some people say, oh, they messed my credit up. I went to the car place and they pulled my score 15 times or 20 times. Now, sometimes that can decrease your score, but specifically when it comes to car inquiries and home inquiries, when they're done in a certain amount of time frame, usually 30 to 45 days, they will not weigh as hard because the system can basically tell this person is car shopping or this person is house shopping. Also, if you do have, there are times when you don't authorize for your credit to be pulled and it's pulled, you can sometimes disputing through the credit bureau or talking to the furnisher, have those removed. And if I keep breaking it down a little bit more, if you get into like business credit or regular credit, some companies do look at how many inquiries that you have in a certain amount of time before they approve you. Each company is different. Usually they're kind of really strict and they say usually no more than 2 to 3 inquiries, and that's in a 6-month and maybe to a year time frame. And that depends. But to that, I say you really need to know the data points of where you're applying to. So for example, Chase pulls from usually TransUnion. Bank of America pulls from TransUnion. If you get a Navy Fed business account, they only pull from Experian, whereas other products may pull all 3 credit bureaus and give you 3 inquiries for that one thing that you're applying for, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. And the reason I asked you that, because I had that situation where someone told me it's going to be a soft inquiry, and it turned out that it wasn't soft and it affected my score. So That's the reason I asked you that. Very good.
I would say to that, and I get that a lot. And sometimes we may not remember, try to get documentation of that, or do that with a manager so you can use that later on in a dispute to have that inquiry removed, because I've also had that before. I've applied for a business account. They told me it was a soft pull. I did a hard pull. I didn't get applied.
Right.
And now I don't want to apply again because I was recently denied by them.
Exactly, exactly. Well, thank you so much. You guys, this has been really a lot of great information. I am just so overwhelmed right now. Thank you, Loreen McLeod. You are awesome. Tylan, you're awesome as well. Calvin, you guys did a magnificent job.
Thank you.
Thank you to our guests that came on this evening. We really appreciate you. I would like to make sure that the presenters and the team remain on once we end this call, okay? But that's pretty much it right now. I don't know, Vanilla, I'm turning it over to you for a minute. It was just great. Everything was just great.
Well, you said it all. Yes, this was very valuable. This information shared to the people, and I would like to have more people on the call. Of course, this can be a domino effect. It is on live on Facebook. So remember to share this link to your people or your friends and family, because this is a great subject, credit. So we need to have that understanding. Well, budgeting, we talk about budgeting and credit. So remember Financial Literacy Month, maybe have a gathering in your home and show this viewing about budgeting and credit. So great job, team. Thank you for hosting and being part of the chamber, and you can express your talents and your information for the people. Very important. Remember to bring a friend next time. Maybe we'll have a drawing. Who bring the most friends, maybe get something. We'll see. But thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Good job. And we wish you the best and continue to work on your money. Take control of that credit. Appreciate it.
Okay, and I have one thing to say to add to that. Thank you so much for now. We get excited about these webinars because you know what? These are the type of things that our community really needs to know about. And that's why we do this. And as Vernell said, it may not be something you need to know. You may have a relative, you may have a friend that's really missed it trying to build their credit, trying to buy something. And it's important that you get them to these websites. They're free. You don't have to pay to sit down to get this information. And we have experts here to talk about it. So it's really important that we continue to try to bring this to our community. We may have had a small few on the meeting tonight, but we do this every month. In fact, we do it 3 or 4 times a month. So it's important that we get the message out there, because this is something that people are really in need of. Our young people, they're thirsty. They're hungry for information. And we got to get them on the right track, because it starts with them. That's how we build our financial literacy and our inheritance and all of that. It trickles down. So it's important that they learn about their credit at an early age, or how to control credit cards and how to have a budget system going for themselves. That's going to make their life easier down the road. So once again, I thank you guys. My name is Oprah Price. I am one of the board members with the LA South Chamber of Commerce. The name of my business is Insurance Solution Services. I am a broker as well. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for attending tonight. Our guest speakers, you're off the chain. Thank you so much.